Hi, today I'd like to give you a quick tour of the garden in the end of September 2025. We've still got a bit of colour left in the garden. Still a few things flowering. This one looks very nice. It's coming to the end now of the growing season, except for certain plants. Now it's the time to put in bulbs and winter flowering shrubs, plants. We got still a bit of colour on the geraniums, but they will be going over soon. And the fuchsias, there's some fuchsias, there's some geraniums, but they will be going over very shortly. And I've just put in some winter pansies. This is my, and it catches, or should catch it, some flies. I think a fly just went down into that there. You've got the tube and the head. The fly just went down in there as well, so goodbye fly. Bring that in shortly. That's doing quite well. And hellebores, hellebores, they'll be coming out in the spring. There's some lovely, I like these better than pansies, because pansies seem to be very big and bold, but these are quite cute on their little faces. And kiwis coming still. They've done well this year. Again, it's late flowering type of shrub. The borders starting to go over a bit now. There is still stuff hanging around. Calendulins or marigolds, they keep flushing out now and again, and everything's getting ready for next year now. They're getting their last bits of energy. Got a few bulbs there coming through, and we got the old sunflowers, the last of the sunflowers. Just they start to fall over, causing a bit of a mess, but I do like them. I need to stake them up really, but when you stake them up they look like trussed chickens. This lot, yesterday I pulled it up, dug it up again, because these are iris and I was getting lots of weeds in between the iris, so I had to dig them up, split them up, because they do grow, and when you touch them they sort of fall apart sometimes if they're really ready to go. Otherwise you can break them into smaller bits. So I've got a load there. This is a bit I've still got to do this year for the last winter break. Still a bit of colour in the garden for another 2 or 3 weeks probably. There has been this sort of fungusy stuff that's been killing off some apples and stuff like that. They go sort of mouldy on the tree. Again, on this side I've got a lot of last the hollyhocks. I like hollyhocks. They always feel like a country garden with hollyhocks. Nice and tall, and they don't bend over, so you don't have to stake them. It's more marigolds, they do look nice. And they keep on flushing it one after another. They're producing the seeds, and yet they're still carrying on flushing there. Over here we got this other border. Been mulching it, but there's still a number of weeds that need to be sorted out. We've still got this one still doing okay, but much of the other, and there's nice colour in that sunflower. Some more that's one here. There's this pond here. I've been lots of newts and tadpoles and things go in there. They enjoy going in there. Trying to make some normal foliage around it. Yeah, we've got a bit of colour here with the cosmos still going on. And around the back here I've got some tomatoes. They've done really well because of I put some cuttings from the garden down there, and they've just made all these plants just go mad. It's a nice dahlia there. Again, dahlias are nice for this time of the year, give you a bit of colour. And here we've got this huge tomato plant with loads and loads of tomatoes, some ripening, others still green, and they'll probably remain green. I might have to do a green tomato chutney out of them or something, but the whole thing has just gone mad. The whole bush, that's just one plant. Just gone mad. We've got the last of the summer sunshine. I got some blackberries here, just coming. What you don't want is this thing, bamboo. That's next door's bamboo. The previous owners of this one planted it, and it has gone mad. And still, even up here, I have to keep digging it out because it does come through the fences. And there it is again. So that's another bit that needs to be dug out. And it self-sows itself. Roots go through the ground, and then they just pop up here and there. So you're not sure where they're going to pop up. They do traverse and just pop up where they want. This is a big hole that the foxes have been using, and cats now, but I think the foxes have dug it out first and then the cats use it. The other day I did see the fox, well, one fox anyway, I'm not sure how many foxes there are around here, and he came round and he came to the bottom of the garden. First of all, he just disappeared because they do get quite frightened. And then he came back again and he sat down, and I sat down, and we just stared at each other for a little while. That was quite a nice moment, but they are a bit of a pain. There is some, that's the raspberries. Some more poppies. These are I think they're Californian poppies. Self-sown this year. I've got these are going to get some sort of squash. They didn't do very well at the beginning because the slugs got them, but I had to put some slug pellets down, and now they've actually done well. Last of the, then we got the apples, which have just gone mad this year, and yet they're a bit small. Most of the apples are a bit small now. Some rhubarb, still doing all right. Look at those apples. Loads of them, but they're a bit small. Maybe we should have picked these are eating apples. I think it's sort of a Bramley type. And then we've got a Golden Delicious, I think it is, but they're very small. But we have got a number of ones that go rotten on the branch. So, and then next door I've had most of their apples go rotten just sitting on the tree, which is unusual. Then we've got another apple down the back there, which I think we've picked most of them, but there's one left. Might be a Spartan or something like that, I think it is. Just take it down the bottom bit. Gooseberry there. One of the currants, red currant. Oh, it's interesting. I'm not sure where that came from. That's probably Fox brought that in, I think. That's certainly not one of ours. In here we've got a grape. Still flat leaves still on there at the moment. Have to scrape out all those dead leaves soon. And I got some, see, that's what happens. They come in here and they knock stuff about. See what happens. I have made some little inroads. I was hoping that in here they wouldn't come in here because that would be a bit more like a secured place, but there you go. Then we've got a bit of winter colour there. This needs to be sorted out a bit, it's mainly weeds, but underneath they've got some bulbs. Hopefully we'll get some nice bluebells this year. Little stack of logs. Hopefully we'll get some bugs and frogs and newts will find their habitat in there. It's got holly this year. Let's just finish off. There's those geraniums again. Some climbers, which I hope will go over the roof eventually. Kiwi. Hasn't done anything yet, I'm not sure. I think you're supposed to have 2 of them for a male and female, but they sold them as they're single, so I'm not sure if they're self-fertilizing or not. This, I had to put the thing on top of these because these are, I found these, they're winter pansies. I found them in the ground because they're self-sown. So I just put them in a pot. These are self-sown, so I found them in places like this. They just pop up. And then I put them in here. But I'd put that on top just to stop the fox or whoever it is, not they're fox or squirrels, who are attacking things. These are my bits and pieces I've got to sort through. There's a crow, I think that was, you might have heard. Loads of bits of stuff. I've got stuff in here. Now these are very hot chilies, some of these. Extremely hot. They're very small but extremely hot. They've got some other ones that aren't so hot. But yeah, they blow your head off when you eat those. And here I've got loads of old books and stuff at the moment. This is an old tankard, Victorian tankard from about 1860s. I'll do a bit of research on that. 18th century pestle and mortar for grinding stuff. This is a Georgian tankard. And then I've got some Neolithic flints. And these are stuff from the Battle of Sedan. I think it's called Sedan. 1870s, the Franco-Prussian War. And they've got some other bits and pieces that I've got to sort through. Some old books, so I'll bring these to you next time on a sort of a history one, because this is supposed to be about the garden rather than history. But so this is where all the stuff happens. I get a cup of tea and come down here. Nice, even when it's raining, for a bit of contemplation, sort out a few bits away from all the noise. That one's a sweet potato. I've had 2 sweet potatoes. They did okay, but not brilliant. As you can see, I've got some bulbs here that need to be put in the ground. They are actually shooting, so they need to be put in the ground. Well, I hope that was of interest to you, and you saw the sort of stuff that's happening in southeast England, in the garden, in the end of September 2005. Thank you very much. If you like this, there's lots of other ones. I also do history and other topics, so please look at my other items. And please subscribe, give it a thumbs up. That all helps to increase my channel. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.